we're doing go with 3 questions, just in case.
And it's 10?
Yeah.
Alright. Hey everyone, Lisa Freed here, and welcome to ImPORTant Conversations. I've got Kimberly Lynn Pollard here, as well as a 10-year port, courtesy of Kimberly Lynn's birthday.
Thank you, sister.
Thank you, Kim sister. Anyway, today we are recording, or the camera's doing the recording, but Kim's asking me some questions that have been submitted by Facebook friends and Facebook fans, and I'm doing my best to answer them. True story.
Mostly without being a smartass. Mostly.
Running at about 60%. You realize you grab that one every time and go, no.
I'm saving it.
Oh, okay.
I'm following my intuition for when it feels right. You should be proud of me.
I am very proud of you.
Everyone has a story. Can you give us a glimpse of yours and why life has brought you to the point you are at today?
That is so funny. I have to tell you, because I thought that was a different question every time. What's my story? Well, there was this one time at band camp. Just kidding. I never went to band camp. They wouldn't even let me be a janitor at band camp. I grew up as a rancher's daughter. I tell that to everyone. But before we were ranchers, my parents were rodeo folks. So we've always had horses and whatnot in our lives. And my dad also worked on the oil rigs. And a lot of times I grew up thinking we were pretty poor. And that there wasn't a lot of money to go around. We never went on a vacation or anything like that. Which isn't quite true. We went camping once. I remember there was a snake that went into the water. I thought I was going to die, and then my brother taught me how a life jacket works, and then I thought for sure I was going to die. My brother's 10 years older than me, so he'd clearly lived a lot more at that point. But you just kind of look around at other kids in school, and they had brand name things, and their parents drove new vehicles and that kind of stuff, and it was really challenging. And because I'd moved into a community, one of the communities I moved into, I started there in grade 1. And because I was in grade 1, I was the new kid. All right, I went to that school for 8 years, but because I didn't go to kindergarten there, I was the new kid. Little did they know I skipped kindergarten, so in your face. But a lot of things happen when you're in a small town and you're not from there. So my ability to fit in was pretty much non-existent. And there was an experience one time at school that involved a sexual assault and the school principal. And because that happened, I was very shocked, and I spoke up about it. If you know me, I speak up for the underdog, or if I think that something should be a certain way, I'll let you know, and if I think that you're doing something that goes against what I believe is right and true, I definitely will let you know. So I spoke about that happening, and we ended up going to court about it. But the community became very divided. Now, as an adult, when I look at it, I can see why parents would tell their kids, or maybe not tell their kids directly, but discuss it around the dinner table or around little kids' ears, and they would talk about what a liar I was, because a principal, a person in authority and a position of power, would never, ever do such an egregious thing. So when kids hear that about another kid and it's their parents speaking that way, well, they take on that opinion themselves. And I see that when I have conversations around my daughter. She definitely is like, my mom is the smartest person around. Her opinion has got to be right. So they adopt that opinion as their own. So I just became this branded as a liar and completely ostracized in my junior high years. And those of you that are lived past your junior high years, congratulations on surviving them. It was really, really hard. Really, really hard. And so I became this person that would act out. And if you thought I was a certain way, I'd show you that I was that way. And that was really challenging. And so when I got to my 20s, I was really hard. Like I was hard. Nobody guarded. Nobody would hurt me. Nobody could get to me. Nobody could ever get one up on me. And I was incredibly competitive. So I was in this place of being, well, I wasn't the nicest person around. Like, because unless you agreed with me 100%, let's face it, who do we agree with 100%? Nobody. Not even ourselves. I was challenging to be around, but I was very determined and very focused, and that grew me to be able to crush goals and be very dominating. In fact, people would even suggest that I was abrasive and obnoxious, actually. I know that's hard for you to believe now that we're more than 10 years removed from that, but that's kind of what my 20s were like. And then my 30s, I met my husband, and I had a child, and I really got in touch with who I was, and started believing that that I could be the one in control, that I didn't have to let circumstances dictate who I was. And that opened up in a whole different world, and it really softened my edges some, and allowed me to see that I don't have to agree with you or even like you to love you, and I was able to fall in love with myself as well. And I think that those journeys, those years, I wouldn't give up any one of my 38 years. Nobody could pay me to be 16 again, or even in junior high again. And now I'm a person that I speak up for what I believe in. I stand up for those that I love. I defend those that I love very, very fiercely. And I listen to what you're needing and what you're desiring, and I help you to get that, as long as it's not something that's going to cause harm to another. So that's a bit about my story. If you guys go on YouTube and you look at Unmasking the Myths, there's a video that was posted in 2018. It talks a little bit about the sexual violence that I experienced as a 6-year-old and again as a 12-year-old. And those experiences really shaped me. I don't have time to get into every one of those, but it really made me an advocate for empowering people and allowing them to see what their worth and their value is, and to make sure that we support them in achieving their dreams and their goals. So that's kind of a bit of my story and what makes me who I am today.
I love the you that you are today.
That's fantastic. My timer is going to go off in 1 minute and 44 seconds, so.
Okay, good, because this one's a fast one.
Okay, ready. It's a rapid fire one. Okay,
Yeah,
ready?
it's super important. Pay attention.
Okay.
Toilet roll, over or under?
So funny. Okay, so I used to always be an over. And then I dated this guy who used to date a woman that had a younger kid, and he said if you roll it, if it's under, kids grab less of it. And I don't know why I believe that to be true or whatnot, but I've been under about 80% of the time I'm under, and the other 20% I'm over. It's just whatever way I decide to roll that day.
That was more of an answer than I was expecting.
Yes. Well, I thank you so much for joining us in this very brief episode of ImPORTant Conversations. Stay tuned. There's going to be more of them. You will love them as much, if not more, than this. And I wish you a day as beautiful as you. So much love. Mwah! Bye for now, everyone.
That was a good one.
I was like, the time, we're going to run out. I still have 30 seconds left.
Even at 10 minutes, we have a word.
Wiggle it just a little bit.
You gonna get up and dance now?
You can't see her, but she's wiggling it just a little bit.